You win the most prestigious tournament in tennis. The crowd is roaring. You lift the trophy. You're handed a massive check for £3.6 million. But before you even leave the locker room, £1.62 million of it instantly disappears. Taken by the taxman.
Welcome back to Learning with Pratik. If you're new here, I try to increase neuroplasticity by exploring a new topic every day. I do all the reading and researching so you don't have to. Today, in this explainer, we're dissecting the 2026 Wimbledon Ladies Singles Final. We'll be unpacking a truly historic sporting triumph and looking at the rather hidden, cold economic reality that shadows it. Now, Wimbledon is the absolute pinnacle of grass court tennis. It's arguably the most hallowed ground in the entire sport. And this year? Well, the financial stakes were simply astronomical. The grand prize for the ladies singles champion was set at a staggering £3.6 million. That is a completely life-changing sum of money. It reflects the immense pressure, the massive global viewership, and obviously the incredible prestige of the event itself. But to really understand the true cost of this victory and why that final payout matters so deeply, we first need to understand the absolutely grueling journey it takes just to claim it. What's truly fascinating here, right off the bat, is the absolute dominance of Czech women on grass. For a nation of roughly 10 million people, their success per capita is a profound statistical anomaly. It literally baffles sports scientists and analysts. This legacy stretches way back to Martina Navratolova's record 9 titles, through Jana Novotná in 1998 and Petra Kvitova in 2011. Actually, our 2026 champion, Linda Nosková, she didn't even care much about tennis until she watched Kvitova win that 2011 final. Today, Noskova is continuing this incredible modern dynasty, following Marketa Vondrousova in 2023 and Barbora Krejcikova in 2024. It is, like Noskova herself said, basically a tradition now, a passing of the torch right there on the pristine lawns of SW19. So, you might be wondering, why exactly is the 21-year-old Noskova so incredibly lethal on this specific surface? Well, the anatomy of her game reveals a unique threat perfectly calibrated for grass, where the ball stays low and just skips off the turf exceptionally fast. Across 2 seasons, she's won 18 matches on this demanding surface. Madison Keys, one of her opponents, hit the nail on the head. She pointed out that Noskova has this massive serve and incredibly soft hands at the net. But the real game changer, it's her variety. She hits this heavy, punishing ball that completely pushes you back, and then, boom, she instantly throws in a devastating drop shot. She dictates the play, actively stealing time away from her opponents and forcing them into some seriously uncomfortable positions. And that brings us to the championship matchup itself. This was a highly compelling clash of 2 very different trajectories. On one side, you have Noskova, a 21-year-old clinical rising star who seemed completely unbothered by the gravity of the moment. And on the other side, Karolina Muchová, a 29-year-old veteran whose career has been this grueling roller coaster of injuries, setbacks, and miraculous comebacks. But there's a really profound psychological dynamic at play here too. These 2 aren't just compatriots, they're good friends. They literally shared the same side of the court as doubles partners at the 2024 Paris Olympics. So the stakes were incredibly high. It pitted personal camaraderie directly against individual ambition on the sport's biggest, most unforgiving stage. Now, Muchova's path to this final was nothing short of brutal. She literally had to dismantle tennis royalty just to reach center court. She knocked out 3 Grand Slam champions along the way. She took down Naomi Osaka, then defeated her friend and former champion Barbora Krejcikova, and then in this absolutely breathless, epic semifinal, she survived a roller coaster deciding tiebreak against the 7th seed Coco Gauff. She fought back from the absolute brink, saving a match point just to edge her way through to the final weekend. But contrast that grueling run with Noskova's path. After surviving a tricky 3rd-round tiebreak against Sorana Cîrstea, Noskova just shifted into a completely different gear. She systematically dismantled the American veteran Madison Keys, swept right past the 25th seed Elise Mertens, and then delivered a ruthless straight-sets demolition of Ukraine's Marta Kostyuk in the semifinals. She moved with this terrifying, almost machine-like efficiency. By the time she arrived at the final, she had won 6 consecutive sets. She was projecting this undeniable aura of complete invincibility. And so we arrive at the 2026 final. For the first hour, honestly, Noskova was just cruising. She took the first set 6-2, and she was up 5-2 in the second. She had 5 match points. 5. It looked completely over. But then, Muchova, staring right into the void, somehow fought her way back. She miraculously saved all 5 championship points and completely stole the second set 7-5. The momentum completely flipped. Yet, exactly at the moment when Noskova should have crumbled under the immense pressure, she stood tall. An hour and 20 minutes after her very first match point, she finally converted her sixth. She won the final set 6-3 and claimed the Venus Rosewater Dish. The immediate aftermath of that match was incredibly moving. Crumpling to the sacred turf in total exhaustion, Noskova was just overcome with emotion. And during her victory speech, she delivered this incredibly tearful tribute to her late mother Ivana, who had passed away just 2 years prior. Looking heavenward and blowing a kiss, Noskova told the crowd, "I definitely would not be standing here without her." It was this stark, very grounding reminder of the deeply personal, often painful journeys that are hidden right behind these massive global spectacles. And despite the truly crushing disappointment of the loss, Karolina Muchová showed pure class. Taking the microphone, she looked over at Noskova and said, "Linda, my ex-friend, I'm kidding, obviously, kind of." It totally brought the house down. That brilliant little touch of humor perfectly captured the deep respect and bond between these two Czech athletes. It was just a beautiful moment of sportsmanship. But as the applause faded and the trophy was packed away, a much harsher economic reality was waiting just off court. Which brings us right back to that shocking statistic we opened with. The absolute euphoria of a £3.6 million grand prize is immediately met by the cold, hard reality of UK tax law. You see, professional athletes operate a lot like multinational corporations, but their prize money is relentlessly taxed right at the source. Currently, the highest nominal income tax rate in the UK is 45%, and that applies to all earnings over £125,140 within a single tax year. Since the Wimbledon prize money is firmly in the millions, nearly the entire sum is subjected to this absolute top-tier tax bracket.
When you actually break down that brutal reality, the numbers are just staggering, especially when you consider the incredibly short, highly injury-prone earning window of a professional athlete. Out of that £3.6 million awarded to Noskova, approximately $1.62 million goes straight to HMRC, the UK's tax authority. That instantly halves her take-home pay. Poof, gone. And Karolina Muchová, she faces the exact same 45% rate on her £1.8 million runner-up prize. Now, to be fair, it is worth noting that players can deduct certain business expenses, things like coaching fees, international flights, and equipment, which might slightly lower their taxable profit. But the sheer volume of wealth instantly diverted to taxation fundamentally changes how we really need to look at an athlete's ultimate payday.
It's such a fascinating juxtaposition, isn't it? The sheer athletic brilliance and raw human emotion out there on center court, paired directly with the cold, mathematical reality of international tax law. So, does the reality of sports taxation change how you view a Grand Slam victory? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, especially if you have something particular in mind. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow, we open a different page. Until then, Pratik out.